Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Yes, I know how stupid my intro is. Available summer 2024. The album, Dad, Shimmy Shimmy AF. Are you ready? It's a new one. We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet. And the world is but a treat when we're on Easy Street. Boost! How many Walking Dead fans out there just went crazy? Oh my God! Oh my God! We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet. And the world is but a treat when we're on Easy Street. So, I am binge watching right now The Walking Dead. I'm on, well, I keep a list actually of what episode I'm on. So, in case it ever takes me out, I don't forget which episode I'm on. So, I'm currently, let's look on here on my weekly TV list. Okay, my weekly TV list. Let's see what I've watched so far this week. Vanderpump Rules. Got caught up on the Vanderpump Rules. Last night got caught up on the Valley. Vanderpump Villa, caught up on that. Finished Baby Reindeer. And I'm currently on Season 7, Episode 11 of The Walking Dead. We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet. And the world is but a treat when we're on Once you watch those episodes, you can't get that fucking song out of your head, can you? Oh my Lord, beast. Anyway, we're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet. You can't get it out of your head, okay? It's driving me crazy. John, I'm talking about, okay, it's where the saviors, and they put people in that room, like Daryl, and then they play that song, and they play it over and over and over again to where you're, like, laying in bed, and it's like, it's Easy Street, and it feels, why did they pick that song? It's driving me crazy! It's driving me crazy! But no, truly, let me put some lip gloss on. Truly, and Shirley, and don't call me Shirley, because that's what we call Daniel Prater's little thing, yeah? Anyway, hey Shirley, how you doing, girl? How you doing, Shirley? Shower, not a great grower, not a shower. I don't know, but anyway, Shirley. Hey, Shirley. Somebody spelled Shirley on my video yesterday. They said, I love that, Shirley. And they spelled Shirley Cherli. And I was like, okay, that is probably the weirdest spelling of Shirley that I have ever seen in my entire life, but I absolutely live for that, okay? If I ever change my name to Shirley, I am spelling my name Cherli. I am living for that, Shirley, okay? Oh my God, I love that so much. But anyway, so, but hey, Shirley. That's what we call Daniel Prater's ginormous ego. So anyway, I was watching The Walking Dead last night. Do you ever, like, when you're watching The Walking Dead and stuff like that, when you're ever watching TV shows, do you ever just, like, think the weirdest things? I'm, like, literally, like, sitting here, like, watching it like this. I'm, like, in my chair inside, you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm drinking coffee and I'm watching it, and it's this part where they, like, go to the kingdom, which is where the guy has the tiger, the pet tiger, and things like that. I think I might like to have me a pet tiger or something like that, you know. I said in a previous video I was going to get me a jail boyfriend. I think I might be getting me a jail boyfriend from that show Unlocked. No, I am. I'm going to get me a jail boyfriend, and then I'm going to, I had one back in the day. I had two, actually. I'm going to get me a jail boyfriend. If me and my husband don't make it, I'm going to get me a jail boyfriend. And no, not James Charles. But anyway, wouldn't touch him with a 7-foot pole. But anyway, I'm going to get me a jail boyfriend, and I'm going to get me a tiger, and then when the Armageddon happens, nobody going to be messing with me, okay? Listen, I got hair on here. Jacqueline Hill coming out with more makeup. And nobody got to come for me, okay? When I got a tiger on a leash, and then I got me a jail boyfriend. Ain't nobody coming for me on the Armageddon, okay? Listen, y'all can get fucked. Ain't nobody coming for me. Attitude check! F you! Ain't nobody coming for me. Ain't nobody coming for me and the cult of Peter Monn, okay? Listen, I got some t-shirts coming that you guys are not prepared for yet. I just cannot wait until these t-shirts come, okay, in the mail that I'm going to start wearing for my videos over here. But anyway, I was watching The Walking Dead last night, right? And I'm sitting there, this was after I watched the Trisha Paytas podcast, and well, I watched that the night before, but I was watching some other stuff about Trisha Paytas last night. So anyway, because that's what the video is about today, Trisha Paytas, not The Walking Dead. We're on Easy Street. But anyway, I was watching The Walking Dead, and I'm sitting there like this, and it's the part where they go to the kingdom, which is where the Ezekiel has the lion, and then they leave, and they're like, no, we don't want to stay for breakfast. Okay, we'll stay for breakfast. And then they leave after that because they have to go back to Alexandria, which is like a 20-mile walk, and they walk the whole way. And this is what Peter Monn is thinking, okay? Because you know I'm on this health journey. I'm documenting the whole thing on my Peter Does Stuff channel. I actually just filmed that video. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching that. I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how many, because I'm counting my steps now. See, I'm like real into that step counting thing. I never thought I'd be that person. I mean, like, I talked to my friend Tanya Jean. She'd be like, I walked 22,000 steps today. And I'd be like, you did? That didn't even translate to me. That was a foreign language. I did not know what that meant, 22,000 steps, okay? I do today. And so I'm sitting there watching it because, like, you know, I like count my steps and stuff. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how many steps they walk. Do you think any of them, I'm thinking, do you think any of them have like them step counters and things like that, you know? I'm still trying to figure out why Rick wears a watch in The Walking Dead. Why do you need to know what the fucking time it is, okay? I'll tell you what time it is. The world is over, okay? You are still fighting a war you ain't gonna win. The war is over. There are a bunch of dead people around. This is what kills me. Whenever I talk to my husband about this, I talk about the Armageddon. I'm like, what would we do? Like, if, you know, my husband is so terrified of zombies anyway. He grew up in Venezuela, and he's, like, believes in that La Llorona lady and all that kind of stuff. He's like, oh, no, in South America, truly, like, there are zombies and the dead rise. He believes in all that kind of stuff. See, my husband is not scared of shit, okay? He is not scared of shit. I was telling somebody this story last night, because I was talking to a good GD drama channel friend of mine, and I was talking about how I called Joey Graceffa a poossow. He is. He's straight up a poossow, okay? And I was talking about, like, the first week that I dated my husband, and somebody called my husband a name in a bar. We were, like, out at this bar, and somebody called my husband a name, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I thought literally, okay, I thought I was watching, I thought they were gonna get into some, like, WWF wrestling right there. That was, like, that was hot to me, okay? A man that was gonna stick up for himself and me, I was, like, living for that, okay? But what was I saying about that? About my husband, like, I always say to him, like, because he ain't scared of nothing, but he's scared of zombies, right? You know, he's scared of zombies. And so, what was this thing that I love that somebody put up, hold on a second, that somebody put up on their Instagram last night? I gotta look up their Instagram first, because it was this. I was like, if I retweet this, and, you know, people are gonna get the wrong idea about it, but hold on a second. Let me look up this guy, because I know who posted it. Here he is. Okay, let me look up his thing that he put up here last night, because I live this, he said. He always puts the funniest, like, quotes and memes. I said meme in a video one time, and somebody goes, oh, you mean a quote? And I'm like, I don't know what the difference is between a quote, a meme, a gif, a gif. I don't know. Jiffy, peanut butter. I don't know the difference of any of it. But this guy, he puts all this stuff up here. It's so funny. What did he say on here? Where is it at? He said, oh, I love this one. He said, maybe he took it down. He said, well, here he said, Taylor Swift really said, here are 30 songs, and also F you, Kim Kardashian, and all my exes, which I love that. We had 24-hour Walmarts and $1 McChickens. We had it all. But anyway, he puts the funniest things. But he had this thing on there. I can't remember what it said now, but that was good anyway. So, you know, I always say to my husband, I'm like, if the apocalypse comes and there's zombies, he's like, I'll just let them eat me and I'll be dead right away because I'm not going to try to survive. And I'm like, no, that's such a boring answer. Do you ever have these conversations with your, like, partner? Like, these are the things that will ruin a marriage. You don't want to have these conversations. This is like, listen, we've gone to marriage counseling forever. This is like marriage counseling 101. Don't do hypotheticals, okay? Don't do hypotheticals with your partner and be like, okay, but what if the Armageddon happened and it was 100 years later and we were still around, and then that leads to a fight? Because there's no point. That's never going to happen. So you don't need to go to the hypotheticals in relationships, okay? But I do all the time. You know, I do, right? And I'm like, but no, Alex, but like, hypothetically, if there was an Armageddon, right? And there were zombies, he's like, it would never happen. But if it did happen, I'd just let them eat me. I'd just walk right outside. I go, Alex, you would not let them eat you. And he goes, yeah, I'm not going to fight him. I'm just going to, like, there's no reason to stay alive for what? He's like, there's no music festivals. You can't have fun. You can't go out to dinner anymore. Why would I want to stay alive? I'm like, he's like, there's not even any TV shows to binge and there's no TikTok. Last night, I thought my husband was going to come unglued when they found out about that the TikTok ban was possibly coming. Oh my God, my cousin Caroline, Alex, my friend Tanya Jean's husband, everybody, okay? When that TikTok comes down, woo! YouTube's gonna be flooded then, isn't it? Girls are gonna be watching our videos then, won't they? But anyway, he always just says that. I just walk outside and let them all eat me. Just get it over right away. Well, I always just imagine me and Boo Radley, my little dog, we'd be on the run forever from the zombies, you know? Like, ain't nobody gonna come and get me and Boo Radley, right? But I'm watching this show last night, you know, and it's like the one I'm watching right now, there's like there's a bunch of couples on there, you know, but they're always dirty as sin. They're always so gross. And then like they never in the show ever show them take a shower unless they go to like some new place, like a hotel. They did that in Fear of the Walking Dead. They showed her take a shower one time. I saw that in Fear of the Walking Dead. I think there was only one shower taken in that entire series, okay? And they got blood and guts over them. People have been blown up. Dead people are trying to like nibble on their ears and things like that. It is so grody. It is so gross. And then they're laying up and they're doing it, okay? And I am like, this is what I'm thinking as I'm watching The Dead, okay? Because that Michonne is kissing Rick and all that kind of stuff. I love them so much together, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm like, y'all do each other with all them blood and guts and everything? And then you do each other and then you don't take a shower afterwards? Not even like 3 days afterwards? So y'all have done each other like 3 or 4 days in a row with blood and guts and all that other kind of stuff on you. And y'all are just doing each other left and right, laying in a bed that haven't been changed in probably 6 years. And there's ants crawling everywhere. And y'all are just doing each other. That is so gross, okay? That alone, listen, I would be celibate in the Armageddon, okay? I can tell you right now, okay? That I'd be celibate, all right? Celibate. Now, we know Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada would still be doing it. We don't know what they'd be doing, okay? Because that don't make no sense to me, you know? And listen, Dustin Daly and everybody else online could say it, so I'll say it in my video, okay? 2 bottoms don't make a 1. I don't get it, okay? But you do you, boo, all day long, okay? Sitting there talking about how big your dick is. I said this in my video yesterday. When you gotta tell somebody how big your dick is, that to me kills me, okay? I've had a few back in the day, trust me, how big their dick is and all this kind of stuff. And you get up and you're like, oh, her, Shirley. Oh, Shirley, right there. That's why I call Daniel Prada Shirley now, see? Because he wants to talk about how big his dick is and stuff like that. No, girl, baby, We know, okay? We know. So anyway, but this one going to be a video about Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada today. But if I put them in the thumbnail, then Oscar from Trisha's podcast will surely watch my video. For surely. Because he talked about me on Trisha's podcast the other day. So those are the weird things I think about when I'm watching The Walking Dead. But this video is really about Trisha Paytas talking about Shane Dawson talking about his husband Ryland leaving poopies all over the house and her commentary on that. And then that happened. And then people were sending me. So let me tell you what happened. Okay. So first I get tagged in this thing where Trisha Paytas is in a podcast and she's talking about, it's a clip from Shane's podcast. Okay. And he's talking, and it's just this one clip. You can't really make sense out of it, right, if you watch it. And it's this clip where he's talking about Ryland leaving poopies all over the house. And I'm like, this is so grody, okay? Gag me with a spin. This is so gross. Like, what are we talking about leaving poopies all over the house, right? And Trisha's commenting on it and all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting because she says in the video, I'm just going to kind of wing this. I'm trying to like keep things in order and whatever, but listen, fuck it. I'm just going to wing it. So I'm thinking about this, right? Y'all know I used to talk to Trisha Paytas back in the day. I think she forgets that sometimes. But anyway, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, back in the day I was talking about, okay, so Shane Dawson back in the day did a video with Gabby Hanna, okay? And in the video about Gabby Hanna, he's talking about a video that I made talking about him, okay? And I was like flattering in the video. I was nice to him. And in the video, he says something about that true story, y'all can go back and watch the video. Something about like he jacked off watching me say nice things about him in this video. True story, that happened, okay? So Trisha and I were talking about that video back in the day when we talked, and she said something to me about like, do you think that Shane is attractive? And this was at the point where Shane had just had his, glow up with a new haircut, not the side swipe and all that kind of stuff from the 80s, and all that, like Panic at the Disco, all that kind of bullshit. He had that new hairdo and all that kind of stuff, and I thought he was like, I thought he looked cute at the time, right? And I said, oh, I think he's cute, whatever. And she goes, that really surprises me. He doesn't seem like your type at all. And I can't remember. She said she was like, I think so-and-so is your type. And I was like, what? It was like, kind of surprised me. And I said, no. And she goes, but it surprises me because, and Trisha said this to me, I'll never forget this on the phone. She goes, you're so clean. And she's like, you keep your place clean. You're so clean. And she goes, Shane is not. She goes, Shane is dirty. She goes, he hardly ever even showers. Trisha Paytas said that. I don't know that I've ever said this in a video. If I did, it's been years ago. People be like, oh, you talk about that all the time. I haven't said that in years, okay? But Trisha Paytas said that. She's like, he's dirty. Like, Shane never showers. He doesn't take care of himself. All this kind of stuff. Long before he said that he leaves bottles of pee around the house, Trisha Paytas told me that, okay? So in the video, it's interesting because, or the clip, she says to Oscar, they're talking about it, she and Oscar, her co-host, and she says in there something about, it kind of surprised, I don't know how she says it, but she insinuates that it surprised her that it wasn't Shane that was leaving Poopies around the house, that it was Ryland. That's what she kind of insinuates that. And it made me think back to that conversation where she was like, it's weird to me that you think that Shane is cute because he's so dirty, is like what she said to me. So interesting to me in retrospect that Shane and Trisha were such good friends, and I would never talk about one of my friends this way. Well, first of all, I wouldn't have a dirty friend that left Poopies all over the house, but that's beside the point because that never happened to begin with, but we're getting that second. Okay, so, but Shane Dawson's telling me that, I don't know why it didn't occur to me at that time that they were probably both talking shit about me behind my back, but Shane Dawson is saying that Trisha Paytas is a pathological liar, telling me that in person. Trisha Paytas is telling me all kinds of shit about Shane Dawson. I mean, more than I've ever said, okay? And that, you know, he's the dirtiest person, and he don't ever shower and clean up, he don't change his clothes, and none of that kind of stuff. And they're best friends at the time. Y'all remember Train? That was Trisha and Shane. Remember that? That was at that time, right? And they're talking mad shit about each other. I don't know why I didn't see the fallout of that friendship coming a mile away, because that ain't nobody's kind of friendship. I can tell you right now, if I ever found out one of my friends was talking about that way, no, baby, you wouldn't be in my life. I don't let people talk about me that way, okay? If you think I'm that dirty, you better come to my face and tell me that I'm that dirty, okay? Not be talking about it to a bunch of people. They all talk about each other behind their backs, all right? So, anyway, okay, this is what happened. So I got tagged by Spill Some Tea with Me, who just sent me the clip of the actual podcast, so I want to say thank you to her. People think that Spill Some Tea is Adam McIntyre. Other people think that Spill Some Tea is me. Sometimes Spill Some Tea with Me is actually, and I did not know this at the time, somebody that designed merch for me way back in the day, and I live for her, and she is constantly putting up the clips and tagging me in it, and I just want to thank her, because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have my career today, because I can't keep up on this shit. So anyway, people are she tagged me in it. Other people are tagging me in this stuff about Trisha Paytas coming out and talking about how disgusting it is that Ryland is leaving Poopies around the house, and Shane's bringing it up on the podcast. Okay, so that was the first thing. Well, I was going to make that video, but before I could make that video, I started getting tagged in a bunch of stuff. People were commenting on my videos that Oscar and Trisha were talking about me in their podcast. This was 2 days ago. And so I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to make that video, I'm going to combine it all together. I actually was going to make this 2 separate videos today, but I decided just to combine it all together in one. So, I'm like, well, I want to watch this. So in there, Trisha Paytas shades me. Because Oscar said there were no timestamps. He's talking about, so this is what happens. So I go watch the podcast, okay? The other night at Trisha Paytas'. I watch her podcast because I want to see what they have to say about me, because they hardly ever mention me in their videos or podcasts, right? Ever. They insinuate things I thought about me that people have said were about me, but I don't really think they were in retrospect, because Oscar comes right out. He was like, oh, Peter Monn made a video about Joey Graceffa, and I'm like, what? So I watched the whole podcast. Okay, now I'm going to tell you right now, before I even get into this, because Trisha says something about she just thinks I'm over Trish, is what she says towards the end of it. It's a very short clip, okay? And they're very nice. They're very gracious to me in the video, in the podcast. But I just want to make this very, very clear. And I know that this is not going to be real favorable with the people that hate Trisha Paytas. And I don't really give a shit anymore. Like, listen, it is what it is, right? I have been favorable to Trisha Paytas, and it did me no favors. I have called Trisha Paytas out when she was problematic. It did me no favors. Trisha Paytas, probably, besides Amberlynn Reed, is the most polarizing character on YouTube or the internet space, period. You can't say anything about her. So, fuck it. I don't really care, okay? This podcast, doing it by herself with a co-host, was such a genius move for Trisha Paytas. First of all, she's getting mad views on it. You can tell she's so happy doing it. She's so comfortable in her element doing it. She's getting unbelievable sponsorship. She's getting, like, I mean, she is putting Shane's podcast to shame. She is getting, like, DoorDash sponsorships. She is, I mean, I don't love some of the choices that she has in guests. I don't love some of the choices that the stands that she, you know, supporting people that support James Charles. Some of the things she said about James Charles on her podcast. I don't love the fact that they support Joey Graceffa, even though Joey Graceffa is a predator protector with Colleen Ballinger. I don't love all that kind of stuff. But for Trisha, this is a move in the rightest direction, you know? And I'll tell you, I watched the entire podcast. People will send me things about Trisha's podcast, and I'll watch a little bit here, a little bit there, because she does timestamp her videos. Because he said, I don't timestamp my videos, my video is like an hour long. And she goes, what did she say? I wrote it down. She said something about, like, you need to get with it or something like that. What did she say? Hold on, I had it all right here, all wrote out. Where is it at? Oscar brought me up. Okay, so she said something about, okay, where is it at? It's so funny what she said. Oh, called me out for not putting timestamps, and she said, do better. Okay, girl, well, maybe call out the people that support James Charles. Call out James Charles the same way that you call out Colleen Ballinger. How about you do better, Trisha? Okay? But anyway, I don't got a bone to pick with Trisha Paytas today. So I watched this scene, right? Before we get into the Shane and the Poopies and stuff like that. So Oscar brings it up, and what Oscar says is that he was going to watch this video of mine. He started watching this video of mine because I had Joey in the thumbnail of the video, and he's very good friends with Joey Graceffa. He's made that very, very clear. Why don't you ask your good Judy why he won't come out and comment about Colleen Ballinger, who is one of his dearest friends for years, Oscar? That would be my direct question to you. You know, back in the day, I made some shade towards Oscar and all that kind of stuff, and I'll just say this right now on video, because if he were sitting in front of me, I would say the same thing to him. I publicly apologize to you for that, Oscar. It was all just shade and good humor. I think you are a perfect co-host for Trisha. I loved watching the podcast. I think both you and Trisha are very entertaining on this. I think you are a great fit for her. So I do want to publicly apologize for jokes I made in the past. But, you know, I think it is important that we also decide who we stand by and who we support and things like that. But that being said, I want to say I think you are a terrific addition to Trisha and the podcast moving forward. And I really enjoyed it. I watched the whole podcast, the entire podcast, laughed, found things out I didn't know. I thought it was very interesting. I think they are such a great fit for each other. I really do. And I really like them together. So he brings it up and he says that he was going to watch this video because I did this video about Joey Graceffa and James Charles. Well, they had nothing to do with each other, but I put them side by side and said James Charles, Joey Graceffa drama, because I knew people would think that, you know, whatever. Oh, clickbait. Like, the whole world don't clickbait. I literally did a video yesterday, and literally the title of it was exactly what it is, right? Listen, fuck that. I'm clickbaiting the hell out of my videos from now on. I'm just saying, because everybody does that, right? So anyway, and I love a good clickbait title every once in a while. Now, when you change your titles all the time, like, this is another question you might want to ask your friend Joey Graceffa. So it was interesting because I made a comment about his title in the video yesterday that had to do the biggest lie that he told his boyfriend, and I addressed it in my video, of which some Janiels wanted to come in there and try to educate me and say about this history with lead paint. Okay, I said in my video yesterday that Joey Graceffa has been very open about dyslexia and learning issues when he was growing up. If you watch the video, as I did, they are laughing about certain issues. It's not cute at all, okay? Well, I wasn't the only one that was calling him out. Other people were too. And Joey changed the title of the video. Now the video is called something completely different. I literally, in my video yesterday, read the title of the video, and now the video is called something completely different. But I digress. So anyway, so Oscar was saying he was going to watch this video, but I'm starting to talk about James Charles. I never really get to the Joey Graceffa part and stuff like that. And it kind of floats into this whole thing. I think they were talking about Toddy Westbrook before that, and Dramageddon and things like that. And Oscar's talking about how something to do, I don't know. But anyway, Trisha says something to the effect of, well, let me look at my notes really quick before I get into this. But Trisha says something to the effect of about all those channels back in the day. Oscar brought me up in the podcast about my Joey and James videos because of the thumbnail. And I said in there, oh, sorry, Oscar, that I put good Judy up in the thumbnail. No, and I said, Oscar's starting to grow on me. And no, he is. I really like Oscar for Trisha. And I think he's great in this arena. I think he's really, really good. Okay, so Trisha says in there that we don't make videos about her anymore because back in the day, she said something to the effect of that we were trying to take her down. Girl, what? I'm so confused by this take that Trisha has in her podcast. She says that drama videos were making videos about her back in the day because we were trying to take her down. Hold on a second there, girl, okay? Like, listen, I think the podcast is fantastic for you. I said in my video yesterday that your back and forth with Moses when everybody wants to come for your marriage is so real on of what marriage is. When he's talking about sending the pictures to you and there's no text and you guys are laughing and you're like, I mean, that is so my cousin and her husband, Tanya Jean, and her husband, my husband and I mean, they are the real deal. They are so good for each other. I don't care what anybody says, okay? But you can bring up a million things from people, their past and whatever, but like you can tell they're good today. And I like Moses and Trisha together. I really do, you know? And I'm not talking about the million other things. I'm talking about Moses and Trisha in this moment in time together, right? But Trisha brings up this thing and says that drama channels were making videos about her in the past because we were trying to take her down. Oh, wait a second, girl. Was that when you had all of us in your ear and you were talking to all of us on the phone? You invited me in the middle of me making videos. I sat down in your kitchen and did a video with you, which I'm thankful to this day. It was a fun moment of my career, you know? But girl, I can remember calling you and asking you, like, do you care if I make this video? I don't do that with nobody today, okay? But that was year 1 or 2. And you're like, you're a drama channel. That's your job, to make videos about the drama. Girl, you have admitted to trolling and trolling and trolling online for views and attention. You were trolling. We were making videos about it, okay? It was a parasitic relationship, if you want to call it that, all right? So to say we were trying to take you down, the fuck we were, girl. You were benefiting off of us greatly, too, because we were talking about you. You get pissed when we didn't talk about you. That's the truth, girl. You get pissed when we didn't talk about you. As long as our narrative sided with yours. It was when our narrative no longer sided with yours and we started calling you out in your bullshit because you took the trolling too far and started doing really inappropriate shit that we started calling you out. You didn't like that anymore because you didn't have us in your pocket, okay? That little trick you learned from Jeffree Star. Keep the drama channels in your pocket. Well, we ain't in nobody's pocket today. Well, there might be 1 or 2 drama channels out there that are showing up to premieres and having face reveals in their videos, and they'll probably end up on your podcast too, because that's what you do, girl, right? You keep the drama channels close to you. Those drama channels, they might not be as smart as us. They might be getting better views, okay? But those views will drop eventually anyway when everybody sees that they're a sellout and they're for clout and they don't really care about what they're really talking about. See, that's the difference, okay? Is we've lived through it. We've gone through it, okay? Unlike these other drama channels. And the difference between us is, the reason why we share our fucking opinion in there is because, and that we don't have to watch 10 other people's drama videos to come up with our own, is because we care about what we're talking about. We're passionate, okay? I do my videos because I want to get the information out there to the people that watch it to make their own decisions. I've said that since day 1, okay? I ain't concerned about the views and the subscribers and the invites to celebrity parties. I could give a shit about that, okay? And I could give a shit about being in an influencer's pocket. Trust me, that will come back to haunt them at some point, all right? Girl, you were good Judies with all of us. You were talking to Dustin Daly, you were talking to me, you were talking to Rich Lux, you were talking to all of us, girl, back in the day. What are you talking about? You had us in your pocket. Okay? Give me a break, girl. We don't talk about you anymore because you're not problematic as much as you used to be, okay? Not as much as other people out there. You aren't problematic on the level of Colleen Ballinger or James Charles. Girl, you sit there, you do your podcast. You might have some problematic people on there. You might have a problematic stance from time to time, but hey, everybody is entitled to their opinion, and your opinion changes about as much as mine does. So, girl, you have that right to do that. But that's me acknowledging change in you, Trisha, and growth. I don't make as many Trisha Paytas videos because, girl, I'll tell you right now, Trisha Paytas videos do very well on my channel, okay? So if I were to throw up Trisha Paytas video once a week, that would do well on my channel because you helped me get a lot of subscribers on my channel. I'll never forget, you shouted my channel out many times back in the day. And I said to you, thank you. And you said, I can shout your name out, but it's the people that are watching the videos that decide to stay, right? So you're the one that's keeping them there. And I appreciate that, all right? But I have a lot of people that watched you back in the day. I have people that watch my vlogs that are some of your biggest fans. I take no issue, okay, with you today, which is why I'm not making multiple videos. The reason why I was back in the day, girl, was because you were problematic and you were trolling. Don't act like you weren't, girl. Let's be for real, okay? You've got in multiple interviews and talked about how you were trolling. And you were also talking to us at the same time, encouraging us to make drama videos. Don't act like you didn't know what was going on, girl. The reason why we don't make them videos today is because you're not being as problematic as you were back then. And that's improvement, and I think that's great. That's encouragement to you, girl. Keep doing what you're doing because, look, you being on a podcast, not having to be problematic, just sharing your opinion is very successful and profitable for you. And people really like this, Trisha. That shows you don't have to go to those trolling links of being problematic and saying whatever comes out of your mouth that's going to be offensive to people to get the views. You can be just Trish with a great co-host like Oscar and people will find you lovable, right? And kudos to you for that, Trisha. I mean that honestly, okay? You know, I've never wanted to take you down. I've always wanted to rise you up. I always wanted you just to be out of this. Even when I was making the videos calling you out, there was always a part of me that still loved you inside. Girl, I mean, you are the dream on YouTube, right? And I'm glad that this part of your life, that you're married and you're happy and you're having kids and you seem successful and you're happy in what you're doing. I'm very happy for you on that. I'm not going to make a bunch of videos every week dragging you. There's no reason to. Period. End of story. You do something problematic, sure as shit I'll come out and talk about it. Absolutely. You support somebody that I don't think is supportable, I'll come out and call it out. That's always what I've done. And you supported me doing that back in the day. You told me that was my job. You said that to me on the phone. That is your job as a drama channel, right? Okay. So I just want to make that clear. Because Trisha said at the end of this, she said, because Oscar said, he kind of defended me a little bit. And he goes, no, I don't think Peter has an issue with you today. He said, whereas Oscar said he thinks I've turned around. And she said, no, I think he's just like over Trish. Girl, I'm not over you at all. The camera stopped. I'm not over you at all. In fact, I have to be honest with you, in watching this podcast the other day, I've never really watched a lot of your podcasts all the way through. A few here and there. Watching your podcast the other day all the way through, just to hear you talk about me, I liked the podcast. I really enjoyed it. It was entertaining to me. You know, a lot more than other podcasts that are out there. And I'll be honest with you, girl, it's a podcast that I'll probably continue to go to because I enjoyed it. It was entertaining to me. You know, and you know me, girl. You listen, we talked enough back in the day. You know me, okay? I don't say shit that I don't mean, right? So that's kudos to you. I think you're doing a great job. I'm not over Trish. I'm not making video after video about you because I don't feel the need to drag somebody down when they're doing well. And if they're not being problematic, there's not. And I know when I make this video, there's going to be a bunch of comments and a bunch of tweets and whatever that are like, Trisha did this in 2010 and Trisha, okay, but what about Trisha in 2024? Sure, she has that problematic stance every once in a while. So do we all, you know? I'm not going to make an entire 40-minute video about one opinion that she has in a video. Do I love that she supports James Charles from time to time? No. Do I love that she has people that support James Charles and Colleen Ballinger around her and on as guests? No. Do I think other things that she does? Yeah. But if she ain't going to do major things that are problematic, I'm not making videos about it. If people have an issue with that, I don't know. Take it to Trisha Paytas. Don't come over to me about it. I'm so tired of that bullshit. There are 1,000,001 people and 1,000,001 Twitter accounts and channels that are dedicated to tearing this person down and tearing that. Dedicate your life to it if that's what you feel like you need to do. Y'all are miserable people, okay? Miserable fucking people. But I'm passionate about what I talk about. It's not just for the views over here, okay? And if Trisha's not being problematic, there's no reason for me to make a video about her. Period. End of story. So I just want to make that very, very clear. But one thing that does come up is that he says in there that I insinuated that James Charles was going to make the video before Shane and Jeffrey was of the series. And I want to make this clear because I've said this in previous videos. And somebody, because people have commented and said, that's no excuse, like, that's not a redemption arc for James Charles. I never insinuated that it was a redemption arc for James Charles. I'm just making it clear, okay? That Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are no better than James Charles, period, end of story, okay? Because the one thing that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are known for together, the reason why people love that relationship is because of that huge part series that they did on the beauty industry and the development of the collab, which really was James Charles' idea to begin with, okay? So they talk about it in this video the other day, and Trisha's like, well, I don't understand why they couldn't have both done the series. And Oscar's just like, yeah, whatever. Well, the reason, Trisha, that they both couldn't have done the series was because in James' series, which was going to be a 10-part series leading up to the release of his palette with Morphe, sound familiar? That was going to be the last episode. That series was going to have a 2-part episode in there, 2 episodes, which one was going to be Sam here for the tea and myself flying out to California to meet with James Charles. We were first going to meet each other, and then we were going to meet James Charles, and we were going to interview him. The next episode was going to be us against beauty influencers having a conversation, okay? Shane Dawson offered to James Charles to moderate that. Shane Dawson was going to be in the middle of that, all right? And when I looked, because when this came up and Trisha was like, well, couldn't they have both done it? No, because Jeffree Star was going to be in that series. He confirmed that with James Charles. I have the text message. Toddy Westbrook confirmed that she was going to be in that episode. I have the text message confirming that, okay? Shane Dawson agreed to be the moderator of that. How are they going to do a series about a release of a palette with Jeffree Star, and the last episode is the release of their conspiracy palette when James Charles, a year before, comes out with a 10-part series showing all the aspects of being a beauty influencer, and the final episode is the release of his Morphe palette? They couldn't do it. That had to be gone for them to go in the way. They had to remove James Charles from going out there, right? Because they couldn't do that series. And I think Shane and Jeffree said, we should do the series ourselves. And that was the beginning of the takedown of James Charles. I'm not saying rightfully so. I'm just saying. And when they brought it up in there and Trisha said that, I'm like, am I remembering this correctly? So I went in and I looked, and sure as shit, I got every DM from James Charles that started this whole thing. And I went into my text messages and I looked. Here, I'll type it in for you right now. James Charles, okay? And I have all of my text messages going all the way back from James Charles. But when you look on here, at the top it says James Charles, and right next to it says Sam and James, okay? So I also had that thread too. But when you go back in here, I can tell you, I'm going way through my text messages right now with James Charles. My very first text message with James Charles was May 18th of 2019, okay? When I go back in here and I look at all the text messages between me and Sam and James, okay, which is in this group chat right here, this was the entire preparing of the documentary series and our part in it. It goes all the way back until May 16th of 2018. Hi, sisters. So I just spoke to Jeffrey, and he's down for the video for part 3. And I responded and said, sounds good, okay? And Sam responded and said, I'm going to vomit. And then it goes on, and he says, only problem is he gets back from Finland on the 4th. Y'all can fact check this shit. I haven't, but you can go fact check it. Are we okay to potentially push the dates back? And they go on, and we're in here doing dates and all this kind of stuff. He goes in here and talks about Manny and Laura will not be there. Ha ha, he says, okay? And then it goes on, and it talks about, I'm scanning through this, who's going to be there. Toddy's going to be there. There's a screenshot from Toddy texting James Charles. Shane Dawson text messaging James Charles, Jeffree Star. I've got it all in here, okay? You want me to read this whole thing to prove to you that James Charles had this whole thing put together in 2018? May 16th of 2018 was when he was going to do this whole thing. Thank God I wasn't part of that, okay? But Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star had to have that documentary series done out of the way before James Charles came out with that launch. That video series. There was no way. That text message series ends with James Charles calling us and telling us that Shane Dawson told him, don't do the series. This is bad for you. You shouldn't do it. And James Charles calling me and saying, okay, Shane talked me out of it and said I shouldn't do this series, so I'm not going to do it. Then they turn around and do it. James Charles actually has never spoken about this publicly and said they stole the idea from him. He's never said that, which makes me wonder, what did Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson really have on James Charles? What do all these people really have on them, you know? But that's the video for the other day. So if y'all want me to get in here and read these text messages, I have no problem doing that at all, okay? Talking about NDAs being signed, and who's going to be there, and who's going to moderate it, and where we're going to go, and flights, and scheduling, and I was leaving for the Dominican Republic and flying in the same day back into Indianapolis that I was leaving with my husband to go to the Dominican Republic. I have it all, okay? I keep my receipts. I got every text message on here from Jeffree Star. Look, let's go in here. Jeffree Star. Right now, people think we're so stupid. Here it is, Jeffree Star. Let's go all the way back to my very first conversation with Jeffree Star. Oh, this is oh, girl, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. Oh my God, I didn't realize I had this many with him. All the way back, phone messages, everything. June 7th, he tweeted me, just scrolling on Twitter, saw your new video title. That's his very first tweet to me, or text message ever to me, okay? Go back in there. I got him on all of them, all right? So, you know what? I can come out with that video and prove that. I don't know that it really matters today, okay? But I would like to know what Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star have on James Charles, other than the voice note that wouldn't mean shit to anybody today, okay? That keeps James Charles silent. What evidence do they have that is allowing him to continue in his behavior he's having, that makes it that he has never spoken about this? Because James Charles complains about everything. In fact, I just called him out yesterday for fat shaming somebody, and he made a joke about it on his TikTok today, because he thinks it's funny to body shame somebody, all right? So anyway, then I get sent this video, right, of Trisha Paytas talking about the Shane Dawson. So it's this podcast, okay? And it shows this clip. And if you just watch this clip with that they have the, what do you call it, Shane Dawson and somebody, whatever. It's Shane talking to Ryland about leaving Poopies around the house. And then Chris is like, this is so weird. How many times did it happen? And whatever, okay? So I reached out to spill some tea with me, and I asked her, I said, do you know exactly, because I watched the podcast and everything where Trisha talks about it. I'm like, because Trisha's like, that is so gross, blah, blah, blah. They're leaving Poopies all over the house. Why are that is so disgusting, whatever. And that's what she says, it's a dirty thing. So I said to spill some tea with me. Oh, she just texted me back again. She said, no problem. Okay. I texted her and I said, hey, just thought I'd ask in case you know, do you have any idea how far into Shane's podcast he talks about Ryland'S Poopies? Because I wanted to know exactly where it was. So she came back with me and she told me that it was the podcast. It's called Pop Culture Conspiracy Theory, Stanley Cups, TanaCon, and Hollow Earth Theory. And she said this episode at the timestamp 43:16. So I go in and I watch this thing, right? Well, what it is they're taking calls from viewers. And this caller calls in and she says basically that her boyfriend left a poop stain on, I think, the sheets or something like that, and she don't know what to do with it, and so she just washed the sheets. She didn't say anything to him. And this starts the conversation, okay? Right before the conversation happens, it's interesting, because Shane's brother says, well, I don't know why they would bring this up on like a level, and this is what I said in my video yesterday before I even knew the facts, why they would bring it on a bigger level to embarrass somebody on that level and make it public and make it public knowledge. Why would you not just take it right to that person, is what he says. Something to that effect. I just watched it before I made this video. And says, why would you do that? To shame somebody, okay? What's interesting about this is Shane turns around and like starts having this conversation with Ryland. Now the clip, okay, that you see with the Trisha Paytas thing, it doesn't show the whole thing. What it is this conversation between he and Ryland. Shane kind of insinuates that Ryland doesn't really clean up after himself after he poops. Which is interesting because when you start watching this, Ryland makes a comment about people that wipe while they're sitting down and how dirty that is, okay? Implicating or insinuating that he's pretty clean himself. But then Shane turns around and kind of makes this insinuation that Ryland isn't really that clean, and Shane will say something to him like, why don't you go on a bidet or something like that, or I can't remember what he says, and that Ryland will be like, it's really not that big of a deal, like he's just got a poop stuck all over his butt, okay? Which to me, in all honesty, is like, okay, it's just so gross that they're even having this conversation. But you can tell in that moment, Ryland's very embarrassed. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think watching this episode. I think Shane shuts it down very quick because his brother is like, why would you talk about this on a public level? I think that was kind of like, no, we're not talking about this, okay? Because this is going to get into piss being left in Coke bottles around the house, Ryland not taking showers and cleaning up his asshole and things like that, okay? And we ain't talking about this on this podcast. And Shane kind of like shuts it down. You can tell in that moment that Ryland's embarrassed because Shane calls him out and says that he's kind of dirty. But it's like literally goes right over it. It's a joke. But if you watch closely, you can tell Ryland's real embarrassed that Shane, he gets real defensive about it. And so you don't really know what the truth is and what it's not. But the truth is not that Ryland is leaving poopies all over the house, okay? That's not the case. Apparently, at some point, they've talked about Ryland leaves poopies in the shower. I don't know about that. I didn't see that clip. They kind of referenced that in this little clip. But you can't really tell what's a joke and what's not. But I really think that the point of reference is his brother saying right before it, why would you bring it up on a public level? Like, why would you do that to somebody, right? And that's the point of reference for it. So, to me, I think it's really a joke. I think really what it is that Shane is basically saying that Ryland is not a clean wiper and he's got a dirty ass. It's just disgusting. Why would you ever have a conversation with somebody like that on a live platform, period? Especially when your brother just said to you, I don't care if you're leaving poopies around the house, your husband ain't white. Go get him some dude wipes, okay? I did a review over on my Peter Does Stuff channel. Go get you some dude wipes. You can buy it on Amazon. Use Jaclyn Hill's link. Go over there. Go buy them at your CVS. Go buy some wipes, okay? Clean your asshole. It's disgusting, okay? And what's even more disgusting is that you would call your husband out. The fact that you would want, okay, this is what is so bizarre to me. Now, I have not watched Ryland and Shane's podcast in so long, or Shane's podcast. They have this whole thing at the before they get into it that's like this, like, intro to Shane and Ryland fighting. It's like this whole, like, edited, concocted thing that's like Shane and Ryland fighting again. It's like this whole intro thing with like, it's this billboard and everything. It's so weird that you guys think that it's cute that people want to watch you fight, okay? Well, I'll tell you what's not cute is you wanting people to think so poorly of your husband that you're talking about, I don't care about the leaving the poopies. That is gross beyond problematic, okay? But the fact that you're on national, international YouTube where anybody in the world can watch this and you're okay with you putting out the information that your husband has a dirty ass is so gross that you would want anybody to think that about your husband, okay? I am so fucking proud of my husband, and I am so fucking proud of my marriage, and my husband has a clean ass, okay? But I'm telling you right now, if he didn't, I am so proud of my husband, I wouldn't want anybody to think second about him, that I would never get in a podcast and say some shit about that. Are you kidding me? You're gonna shame your husband like that on a podcast for fucking views? Girl, you don't know what being in a healthy relationship is like, and that was proof to me, okay? Ryland Adams, okay, not wiping his ass would not be the first person in the world that hadn't wiped their ass clean, okay? If that's an issue that you take with your husband, maybe take it up with your husband off camera. That is so cruel to do to somebody and so rude. You know, I mean, first of all, I think it's gross, okay? Second of all, it now turned into this whole thing that people are, because he talks about poopies and poopies, that all these poopies, you can tell from the conversation, because Ryland says, okay, to this woman that called in, he's like, did they leave like poopies on the bed or whatever, like, that's gross. It really, I mean, it starts with Ryland talking about it. You can tell Ryland's is gross about it too, and then Shane turns it on him and is like, well, you do it. And I'm like, this is so, like, this is like two brothers fighting. This is not like, I mean, this is like, I don't know. It's like, it's almost like Mean Girl attitude, you know? I mean, does it surprise me knowing that Shane Dawson talks mad shit about his best friends behind their back? Absolutely not. That fact that this is how he speaks to his husband, and he edits the podcast, and he thinks it's okay and cute to put this out there that he's talking to his husband about a very personal issue. I mean, that's an issue where you take your husband or partner aside and you say, hey, listen, like, you don't seem to be cleaning up after yourself. And is there an issue? Do I need to help with that? I mean, that is so gross. I'm so thankful I've never had to have that conversation, but I can tell you right now, it is so sad to me that you felt the need to have that conversation in a public forum to shame and your husband that is probably even already ashamed of it, or if he's not, should be, for not cleaning his ass, okay? That is gross, beyond belief. But anyway, that you brought it up in a public forum, when your brother just said to bring it up in a public forum and to shame somebody publicly like that is not the thing to do. Girl, like, this is where people say to me, Shane Dawson has changed, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Here's perfect evidence of how he hasn't changed, okay? He is shaming his husband for something that his husband, it is disgusting, okay? Bringing it to a public platform, and not only that, highlighting it with an edited intro that he is fully aware of because he edits these and puts it in there of Shane and Ryland fighting again and thinks it's cute. That people are going to think it's cute that Shane and Ryland are fighting because Shane is calling Ryland out for having a dirty ass. That is so, like, beyond, okay? Y'all are some dirty fucking people, all right? Like, this is beyond me. The fact that you would do that to your husband, okay, online, I don't even want to talk about the dirty ass anymore. That's just gross to me, okay? But the fact that you would do this online to your husband, why anybody is surprised how you talk about anybody behind the scenes, your friends, a drama channel, people that aren't your friends, the shit that you've done, and people think that you've changed, and this is how you talk about your husband on a public forum. No, we don't need to be talking about poopies left over the house. That's what we need to talk about, okay? Because that's some bullshit that you can't clean up. What you need to be doing about, instead of making it a cute segment, okay, on your podcast about shaming your husband and how cute it is that y'all are fighting again, is maybe take that to a therapy session, because that is sad, okay? If I was sitting in that fucking room and somebody spoke to my friend that way, if my friend's husband spoke to my friend that way, I'd say, you are not going to talk to my friend that way. I don't care how gross that is. Take that off the podcast right now. You are not talking about them in a public way that way, and you are not talking about that at a dinner table around other people. That is a conversation you have between two people. You don't take that around other people. That is so disrespectful. That is the epitome of how Shane Dawson hasn't changed. And when people want to say things like, well, Shane has no business being a husband or a father and this and that and whatever, girl, I have never really commented much on that, but this is like, that is not a cute move, okay? I mean, it is just so sad to me. I just like, shitty asses and shitty mouths. Perfect combination. Perfect couple, I guess. Anyway, Ryland, I'm telling you right now, you can do better, all right? Clean your ass and go do better. Like, that's sad to me. I would never let anybody talk to me that way, period, end of story. Anybody in my in my personal life that spoke to me that way would not be in my life anymore, period, end of story. You know, if I had a dirty ass tell me to clean my ass, I'll go fucking take a shower, okay? You want to shame me like that in front of other people and put it on full blast? No, man, you're not in my life anymore. I don't care what it's about. That is rude, okay? Unless that is a life-threatening situation that you are no longer going to enable me and you are bringing it to public attention around my friends and family to try to help me to change something, but I don't think a dirty ass requires that, all right? That's the conversation you could have had. Apparently, you've had it a million times before because you shared it on there. It was so gross. Gross. God. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, let me know what you think about all that in the comment section below. I'm gonna send y'all a package of dude wipes, okay? The pumpkin spice ones, they're called Dumpkin Spice. I reviewed them on my review channel last fall. They're fantastic. Use them. You'll have a clean ass all day long, and then you won't have to be talking about your husband on a public forum, okay? Dumpkin Spice. Y'all want to review all this pumpkin spice bullshit? Get you some Dumpkin Spice dude wipes, okay? Trust me, they'll save your fucking marriage, all right? Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.